pace with control of this race. Here comes a run from Davey Hazard. He blocks the 10. Not going to be enough. Ryan Pace is going to win at Talladega.
Curry trying to hold off Wilson. He's done a good job so far. Wilson, one last desperate attempt to the bottom. He won't get there. Nick Curry wins at Bristol.
Coming out turn number 2, coming down the back straightaway here. Looks like he's in a class of his own right now.
Merzlak, one final time, get around the 55, big time send.
He hits the wall, he hits it, he gets the lead, but can he hang on to it? Oh my goodness, he made it to the line!
Big push down the backstretch is going to give him a good run through the corners.
A little bit
Follow from the 1.
A little bit of contact there for second, but coming to the line, Toby Roberson's going to take home the checkered flag and victory here from the new Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Before I wrap things up here in this segment, your thoughts on the type of race we're going to see tonight? And I would have to agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to tonight's feature presentation of the Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series presented by Voiles Trucking from the Martinsville Speedway. Hello and welcome, folks. My name is JoeTowNetwork. Joining me up here in the booth tonight for the second week in a row, the one and only Mr. Dewey Schramm. Dewey, welcome back to the JTN booth and welcome to Martinsville.
Always good to be at the Paperclip. A much different track than what we had last week, and a much different track than what we have next week. So we got a pretty good 3-race stretch going here in Bomb Squad.
I mean,
and
you got to love that here to open up the year. We've been all over the place, right? You open up the year at Daytona because that's what you have to do, but we'll be at Talladega next week, Martinsville this week, Texas. You know, Infineon's coming up after Talladega, so a healthy spread of track types here in the first month and a half of the season.
you get a little bit of everything, and it forces all these drivers to stay on their toes week in and week out, because you got to learn something new or relearn something new every time you get back out on the racetrack.
Qualifying currently underway. Those results are at the top of your screens at home, so you'll see those making their way across our ticker. Again, folks, can't thank you enough for tuning in to JTN tonight. We are, of course, at Martinsville here this evening. See Greg and Kathy both in chat. Welcome in to the both of you. Thanks, as always, for tuning in. Two of our more regular supporters here on JTN, so thank you again to you both.
And Zach Rogers at the top of the speed chart here in qualifying. Very strong in the last race we had here. And I believe, did he win that race, Joe? I think he might have when we were here in the fall last year. So know that 5-car always strong on the short tracks. And as qualifying runs out, looks like that 5 machine is going to lead us to the green here this time at Martinsville. And he will be joined on the front row by Mac Daddy in the 28.
Keep going.
I'll roll you through the rest of tonight's starting lineup. In the meantime, rolling off in third will be the 92 of Joshua Clements in that Ally machine. BSR Nelly will join him in row number 2, starting off in fourth. Tower Mellon rounds up the top 5 in the 18 with Terry Scott in the 66 to his outside. Back in row 4, it'll be Wiley King in the 095 and Ricky J, last week's runner-up at Texas. Silver Bullet and Steve Grant round out the top 10 with last week's winner Ken Hansen starting in 11th. He'll be joined in row 6 by Rick Craddock in the 22. And then rounding out tonight's field towards the rear, BSR Magoo and Adam Radisk in the 65 will be back in row 7. Monty Keller and Brian Voiles back in row number 8. And rounding out tonight's grid, it'll be Brain Fade in the 49. So 17-car field here for tonight, 14 of which took a time in qualifying. And again, Zach Rogers, who we know is strong here, already looking good tonight and definitely should be one to watch out for.
We're in that Jeff Gordon DuPont Flames paint scheme as well there in that number 5, so maybe some good mojo going there for Rogers here tonight. You mentioned Adam Radisky there in the 65, one of the new entrants here this evening. We'll see if we can't find him out. There he is, that number 65 car. Short track numbers on the roof. Also, Rick Craddock with a new paint scheme tonight. So, big shout out to BSR Wings, who paints up and gets a lot of these guys looking pretty here at BSR. Another great one from Wings there on the 22 with the flames for the Ski Citrus Soda machine.
A lot of returning looks, of course, here in the series. Can't go wrong with Tyler's Bobby Labonte Interstate Batteries look. That was so good then and is so good now.
Welcome in, Jason.
Or Zach Rogers, I guess, trying to channel his inner Jeff Gordon here at Martinsville.
Is he gonna cry and whine and complain like Jeff Gordon did?
Guess we'll find out.
Might be fitting.
That wouldn't be very good.
No. Dewey, it's short track racing, so it comes with the territory, but what? You know, tonight we heard some rumblings that drivers, they're not confident in the amount of green flag racing we'll see tonight. This track, especially turn 4, very challenging for these drivers. What level of, you know, roughing up the guy in front of you, using that chrome horn, as it were, is acceptable in a race in a league like we have here at the Bomb Squad Racing League?
I think this is a very loaded question. You're going to get a loaded answer for it. I think it depends on who you're racing with, and I think it depends on everybody's level of patience and tolerance for the type of racing that you're going to expect. A lot of times, I myself will kind of employ like a 3 strikes rule kind of deal, where if I'm trying to get past somebody, I might put the bumper to him once or twice, and if I still can't get around in that third one, it'll be a little more forceful and might send him up the hill and maybe into the wall. So I don't know if we'll see that here for tonight. I think there'll be a lot more respect, perhaps, between these competitors than that. And of course, that alone, I really only do if I get super impatient and I know I'm faster. So different guys, I think, will employ different strategies and different levels of patience. So maybe we'll see some people do that tonight. Maybe we'll see some guys be really conservative and just try to ride it out and hope the guy in front makes a mistake. But either way, it's short track racing, and somebody's bound to be a little irritated by the end of the night.
I think that's always what makes these short tracks fun, though, knowing that these drivers are getting under each other's skin every lap, right? Like,
Absolutely.
You know, people like to talk about, oh, it's fun to watch, you know, it's cool to see fast cars go around these racetracks, but one thing that we don't talk about enough, in my opinion, in coverage of motorsports, whether it be here on the virtual or on the real racetrack, is the emotions and the people behind the wheel, right? Like, these guys, they try to act like they're, you know, they try to act so robotic nowadays with their, you know, sponsorship commitments and all that, but being able to see the emotion out of these drivers and know that those emotions they're going through, I think, is so integral and so important to make sure that we don't downplay that, right? All these guys here tonight, yeah, this is a hobby, right? That's what sim racing is for a lot of folks, but there's still a level of competitiveness that comes out and just want and lust for, you know, for winning, for succeeding in these races. You know, these guys, they race each other every week, Dewey. When you race the same group every week, at the end of the day, you want to be the best in the group. That's only natural. That's only human nature. So all these drivers striving to do that. Tyler Mallon so far this year has been the best of the bunch. Had a rough week last week with a couple of incidents late at Texas, looking to rebound from that. But all these drivers, they want to be the best. They want to win this race. They want to win each and every race that they, they get out there on the racetrack. And anything less, a lot of times, is disappointment. And whoever's telling you that that's not the case, well, they're lying straight to your face.
Yes, they are. But that's the kind of deal that you tend to get, especially when you have a league race like this. In a lot of cases, some of the guys you see here out on the racetrack, some of them might be friends in real life and are around each other all the time. And obviously, you don't want to rough them up too much or anybody else. But at the end of the day, you want to win. And sometimes you might have to move a friend to get the dub.
Dewey, if we were racing and we lived next door to each other, I don't care. I'm racing you just as hard as someone that lives on the other side of the country. Because I'm not doing you a service. I'm not doing you justice if I race you any different. And if you're out there on track and you're worried about hurting your friend's feelings, then you shouldn't be out there on the racetrack.
Also true.
Also, you don't have to be two-faced and you don't have to be a jerk about it. So there are levels to this.
It's finding the right balance.
Exactly. I know I'm putting it rather bluntly here to start the night, but it comes with the territory, especially here on the short track. Zach Rogers waiting for the command. He'll lead us to green on the number 5 there you see on pole.
Please start your engines.
So we get a very polite command that I haven't heard in a while, do we? Drivers were asked to please start their engines. They do. As we get rolling here from Martinsville.
I guess I heard a different one than you did.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
I heard drivers start them engines.
Oh, that's not the one I heard. I heard drivers,
Yeah.
please start your engines.
Pulling a little trickery on us.
Are we at the same track?
Michael, I think I'm at the wrong track.
Ah!
Oh no!
Zach Rogers with control here for the start of this race. Mac Daddy to the outside. Joshua Clements, Nelly, and Tyler Mallon, your top 5 here to start this race. Green flag, we're racing for the paperclip here in Martinsville, Virginia.
Good start there on the bottom for Zach in the 5, and he'll be cleared for the lead before they even get out of turn 2. It's going to be a tough task to take down that 5 machine here tonight.
For side-by-side battle, Wiley King and Steve Grant, 2 of the Team Speedland teammates, battling side-by-side for position here. This is the 8th spot. Silver Bullet had a big moment there off turn number 2 as Wiley King takes the position.
3. Went way up the hill that time.
Oh,
Added-
Raditsky in the 65 got loose. He'll lose a couple spots.
Had a little bit of contact, I think, with Rick Craddock in the 22, but kept it straight. Of course, Martinsville, though, one of those tracks that you really do not want to burn the tires up quick at, so that 65 does that anymore. He's not going to be having a good time behind the wheel pretty soon.
Wiley King now trying to work over Ricky J there in the 93.
And it looks like Silver Bullet's really struggling with the handling of that car so far. Looks like he pushed up wide there into turns 1 and 2 again that time. Currently
Craddock
battling right here with Craddock out of 4. That 4 machine definitely looks to be the car struggling the most here in the early going.
Car's just not in the racetrack right now.
And the issue at a place like this too is obviously in some cases when you make a pit stop you can make an in-race adjustment of some kind, but if you pit under green here at Martinsville, and especially if you're off cycle, you're going to lose 2, maybe 3, maybe even 4 laps depending on the speed of your crew and everything else. So it's a big risk to pit off cycle and under green here at this racetrack. So if you have an ill-handling car, it's an even bigger challenge knowing that if you have to pit to make that adjustment, it's going to be very, very difficult to crawl out of that hole.
Zach Rogers still out in front of the field. Mac Daddy there in second. Joshua Clements now trying to fend off Tyler Mallon in the 18.
A good battle right now between these two. Both of whom were very fast last week at Texas. Neither of them got quite the finish they wanted out of the race, though. Especially the 18. Looking really, really good for Tyler last week. Had the late race incident and wound up, I think, 14th or something like that. So last week likely will be his first drop race of the year. And you don't want to use too many of those up this early in the season.
No, you do not.
Like Brian Boyles might have tagged the wall there in the middle of 3 and 4. And I think he might have some connection issues as well in that 68 machine.
Always talk about the support that Brian and his wife Kathy give us through Boyles Trucking. Coming out to the races each and every week here on JTN. Looks like Brian's going to go ahead and pull it down the pit lane, see if they can't fix some of those issues they're having with the transponders.
The first car to go a lap down here in tonight's race. Our Daytona season opening winner in that 68. Of course, swept the weekend to start off the year.
And a very impressive feat.
Especially at a track like Daytona. It's impressive enough to sweep anywhere, but especially at a super speedway like that. But tonight might not be the night for Brian, but still a long way to go. Of course, could still have plenty of yellows to try to get these laps back and such, but obviously still not the way you wanted to start the night off.
Go to this battle for third. As Joshua Clemens starting to have issues in this 92 that allows Tyler Mallon to get to the inside. Tyler going to complete the pass. He'll move up into the third position.
92 had done a solid job of holding off that 18 up until that point, but I think the tires might be starting to go on that Ally machine already.
And that's a common thing we've seen with the 92. It seems like Clemens is one of the drivers that likes to push the issue early on in the runs. Really, I don't want to say abuses the tires, but doesn't baby them like some of these other guys do. And we see that 92 kind of fall off a little bit before we see some of the other guys in the field. Oh,
yeah, the 92 definitely
28's in the wall,
oh,
Dewey.
Jeez, and I don't know how the 92 just missed him.
Caution is out for the first time here tonight. Mac Daddy around in turn 3. He just took off.
Yeah, it definitely looks like there's some rear end damage to that machine. It has gotten in the outside wall. What a weird
He just
wreck.
got loose under braking?
I guess.
He's got Haviland on the car this week, so I didn't think he was enjoying any beverages, but...
Got the left front of the car pretty hard into the wall, too. But the 92 basically drifted it into the corner, as well as Tyler. And I don't know how either of them missed hitting that 28. It was super, super close for both of them.
To overcorrect too, right into the outside wall.
Yeah, pretty big hit as well. Hopefully that's repairable, but might take a while to get there.
Might take a while to get there and get back to the front of the field. Jack Rogers wins the race off pit road. That first pit box helping that 5 team. Wins it pretty handily.
Sure, that was a welcome caution for Clements as well, given the tire fall off we were starting to observe on that car. Of course, almost ended up part of the caution, but did a good job of not having that happen. As Ken Hansen will come down pit road this time in the 9, stayed out to get the lap led after winning last week at Texas after the big crash at the end of the race. See if that 9 car can maybe find a little bit more speed in it tonight and maybe go back to back this week. Who knows? On the good end of one of the classic finishes here in Bomb Squad, everybody wadded it up into turn 3, and it was down to that 9 machine and the 93 of Ricky J coming to the caution, and the 9, just by the slimmest of margins, pulled it out and took home the win. If you haven't seen that finish yet, I highly recommend after this going and checking it out because it was a doozy.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Caution lights are out. We'll go back green here this time. Zach's still out front, has led every lap so far since the initial green. Tyler now in second as a result of this yellow. Clements right behind him in third. And it'll be Craddock and Nelly rounding out the top 5.
Makes their way through turns 3 and 4. Rogers taking them all the way up next to the outside wall to give himself the straightest shot off the corner possible. Everyone closes on up. Green flag. We're backing our way here from Martinsville.
Oh, Craddock really sent it into turn 1 that time, trying to get the nose in underneath that 92. Clements does a nice job, though, of powering off the corner, but he slaps the wall in the process, and this is going to allow Craddock to try again here into 3.
Craddock had an opportunity to force the issue, doesn't. See Ricky J getting by Nelly for the 4th spot. Excuse me.
Harry
5th
Scott
spot.
in the wall at a 4 and brain fade.
Silver bullet going on by there. Hopefully that 14...
Oh!
I was about to say, hopefully they made some adjustments, but my goodness, that car still looks wicked on acceleration.
Yeah, he might have gone a little too far the other way. If he did make an adjustment, Monty Keller is up on the curb, and he's going to try to save it out of turn 4.
He about
and
parked
he
it
does,
there.
But valuable time he just lost doing so.
Yeah, he had to slam on the brakes to avoid that 028 car spinning out on him. He hits the curb again.
Man.
Goes up the hill. Brain has to swerve to avoid him. Back up front. It's Joshua Clements going around. Caution.
Second of the night here on lap 23. Everybody does a nice job slowing down and missing him. Get a look and see what got that 92 out of shape.
Just all by his lonesome. It's slick down there, Dewey. We heard that from these drivers, and
He did.
you know, everyone just running these cars so loose, it looks like.
Silver lining for Clements, though, of course, was able to just loop it around and get it slowed up and didn't hit anything like the 28 did earlier. Of course, still not ideal, though, if you're Clements, as you're now way back in the field for the restart.
You see Clements down there on pit lane. A lot of the other drivers staying out here. Under our second caution of the night.
And we're only back green for 2 or 3 laps, so really no need for anybody else to come on down the pits.
You don't want to get a little crazy with it? Get a little loose?
Maybe not yet.
Great time to remind you folks at home, we got great racing action coming up for you tomorrow night, kicking us off with the NNSCRA Daytona 500K. Coverage kicking off 8 p.m. Eastern Time, so an early start for that one tomorrow night. Then the Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series heads to the Talladega Super Speedway, 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 week from tonight, February 29th. And then 6 days after that, the Bomb Squad Racing Truck Series is back live on JTN from the Infineon Raceway. Coverage kicking off at 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Those races and much more, they're all going to be live right here only on JTN.
Next week going to be the first ever Leap Day race in JTN history.
I would think so, because we weren't broadcasting in February of 2020.
I guess it is then.
So
Should be a good one either way. You cannot go wrong with the high banks of Talladega. Hopefully nobody leaps up into the fence.
Allison Rodrigo with some good insight here in chat, talking about how open setup at Martinsville is such a challenge like what we're seeing tonight. Saying you need to make the front end point in the middle of the corner, and one of the best ways to do this is to get the rear end free. But when you have problems in then you have problems in the exits. And you can also have the under braking, which is another challenge on this track. Agree with you wholeheartedly. Martinsville, one of these fun tracks to set up the car for, but also one of the fun tracks to drive, but also, damn it, Dewey, it's a pain in the butt.
Gonna say it can be one of the most frustrating tracks to set up for us. We are back underway here on lap 29. Great start by Zach there into turn 1, but he hits the curb just as I say that. And that'll allow Tower to pull back in the 18.
He had such a great start, he wanted to kind of even it out a little bit. See Ricky J getting on by Rick Craddock for third.
Good pass there by the 93 up into the podium position. Trying to finish one spot better than he did last week, finishing second at Texas. Got a little hornet's nest around, looks like 11th or 12th. Monty Keller, Adam Radisky, Clements, Brainfade, all up in this group battling around each other here.
They get things settled. Clements with a big moment there off of turn 4.
Yeah, I don't think that car is settled yet. I would think there's likely still something that he's not a fan of in the setup, as he got the wall there added too as well. But I think as this race goes on, he's going to need to put some more adjustments into that car. But as you said earlier, pitting under green is such a big risk that he might need another caution in order to try something. Of course, with it being Martinsville, he could get that caution like right now, or maybe he doesn't get it for another 100 or more laps. So
you never
could
know.
Go either way here tonight. That's the other thing about Martinsville is when you get into a groove and you have a really long green flag run, you're going to tick off laps every maybe 20, 21 seconds. So you think you might have a lot of time when you look down at the amount of laps and it's like 140 or whatever it is to go. But when you're doing maybe 4 or 5 laps a minute and you're doing about maybe 50 then every 10 minutes, you look up and you're like, wow, my race is about halfway over already before you even know it. So you might think you have a lot of time, but it's one of those tracks where you think you do, but
then you don't.
In the end, you really don't. Bristol, of course, the same way, with even faster lap times than what we see here. But a groove, of course, important anywhere, but if you're trying to get into a groove to catch somebody, there's always going to be a little more urgency when you do it at a track like Martinsville. Good battle brewing for 5th. Rick Craddock in the 22, Wiley King in the 095 here into turn 1.
And I was talking with Wiley the other night, and he was, you know what Wiley King said to me the other night after our race over at Hobo on Tuesday? He said, "Thank you, Joe. You know, you guys were spotlighting me last week at Texas." And I said, "Whoa, man, whoa. We weren't doing anything special." I just wanted to commend this team. They have had such a strong start to the year. Really putting some stuff together. We talked a lot about Steve Grant last year, where he was kind of that 3rd and 4th guy in these races most of the time. You know, he lived on the podium, it felt like, throughout most of the year. Wiley King starting to do something similar to what his teammate was able to do in 2023, so that's really good to see. You see him right now running, what, in the 4th or 6th position, battling for 5th here with Rick Craddock. Having a really strong start to the year is the 095.
Without a doubt, and if we get to a point in the year where maybe the 5 and the 18 have a rough stretch of races where they're just not finishing quite where they want to, those Speedland guys are definitely going to be ones to watch as the season progresses to maybe take home a title. Of course, I think you can write down the 5 and the 18 as the clear-cut favorites, but again, all it takes is a couple of bad races and pretty much anybody can throw their hat back into it.
Mac Daddy there in the 28, he's trying to claw his way back into this race after that spin that brought out our first caution down in turn number 3. Wiley King, big moment there off of turn number 2. We'll stop talking good about you, buddy. It's as to not jinx you.
Yeah, Mac Daddy's done a solid job, though. Of course, qualified 2nd, ran there for the first 20 laps, and then we saw that big hit to the outside wall. And they'll now get P6 away from Wiley King. So great drive here back towards the front for Mac Daddy so far. And still a ways to go to get those last couple spots back, as I think he might have gotten into Craddock there out of turn 4, and he'll get 5th that time around. And Wally King will take advantage and get around
Oh,
the 22.
Steve Grant, really
threw it in there. He's
aggressive.
trying to get by as well. Wow, it was a bad lap for Rick Craddock, and it might get worse here with Terry Scott on his bumper.
Dewey, that was about the most aggressive I've ever seen someone make a pass down into turn 1 without
It
wrecking
worked.
the other guy.
I don't know how, but Steve Grant pulled it off.
Joshua Clements now trying to find a way around Silver Bullet here in the 4. Talked about Silver Bullet having some handling woes here tonight.
And both of them have had their fair share of issues so far. As Ken Hansen getting it. Oh, no, and there he goes. Around goes the 9, gasses it up into the inside wall,
Caution.
and I would think this will be a caution, and indeed it is. Number 3 of the race. He had just caught up to the 92 in the 4, and then took a little too much out of 4 and went right around.
Get a replay of it here. You saw it live and just loses it on acceleration. We talked with a lot of drivers. It's so random. That was the word that was kind of common down in the garage area. Random. It's random when the car goes around. No one can really explain why or what it is, but not a lot of grip there on exit. Probably has to play a role in it. Ken Hansen going around bringing out our 3rd caution of the night here as everyone comes down the pit lane except for Brain Fade.
Yeah, and obviously you can make some setup adjustments to make the car a little tighter on corner exit, but always an inherent risk when you do that. Of course, when the tires start to wear, you'll end up with a dump truck on corner exit every lap, which nobody wants to have. But I think if I had my choice, I'd rather have a dump truck than a car that's about ready to spin every corner.
Oh, Dewey, you have a dump truck.
Do I now?
That was too easy, man. That was too easy.
The low-hanging fruit.
Well,
Sort of. As Brain Fade will stay out here and get the lap lead. But obviously a bit limited in what you can adjust during the race, but with it being an open setup series, you can at least adjust something that you think might be of benefit to the way your car handles. So of course, with how the 92 and the 4 have been running so far tonight, I'm sure they might have tried something there on that stop. Maybe Tyler Mallon sitting there behind Zach Rogers. Maybe he tried something to get that little bit of edge he needs to pass that 5. Any number of possibilities.
score update for folks that are NHL fans. The Detroit Red Wings beat the Colorado Avalanche 2-1. Throwing that out there because I just saw it come across our it's hockey season, playoffs are approaching little score line.
Trade
Here in the
deadline
studio.
coming up too soon.
Yeah, what, 1st of March?
Something like that. So, green flag's coming up too, right here.
Yeah, Zach Rogers with control. Green flag. We're back underway here. Oh, 75 laps to go. Nope, more than that. 100 laps. 125 laps. Wow. Math.
Numbers. Got one way up the hill there in 1 and 2. That's Steve Grant in the yellow 11.
I'll lose a couple spots there in that Pontiac. I'll just kind of stop the bleeding there and get down into line.
Got a new face here up into the podium. Nelly in the 103 up into third.
And he's been inside the top 5 this entire race, Dewey, so
He has.
just methodically making his way.
Yeah, I think he beat Ricky J off pit road there on that round of pit stops, so we'll see if that 103 has got anything for what have clearly been the 2 fastest cars of the evening up to this point. Mac Daddy now back into the top 5 in the 28, qualified again up in second before the spin, and I think we have a yellow here.
We do. And Hansen going around in turn 4 by himself once again. Here you see the replay.
Yeah, pretty similar to his spin from before. This time got the outside wall a little bit as opposed to the inside wall, but shouldn't be too much damage
Well, he's retired.
either way, but yeah, looks like that will not matter. So the second retiree of the night, looks like Brian Voiles called it a night a while ago with those connection issues. So down to 15 cars left on the track, all of which on the lead lap still. But obviously not the way Ken wanted to follow up his win. But Talladega's next week, so anything can happen there. Sure, all of these cautions are helping Zach Rogers out. Of course, the more time you spend under caution, the less time everybody else has to try to pass you.
Oh, Dewey. Dewey.
Joe.
You looking forward to this weekend's NASCAR events in Atlanta?
I am, in fact.
Yeah?
Got a plate race right after a plate race.
Yeah.
Well,
And then-
different than basically any other season ever.
And then when we get to the playoffs, we'll have a plate race, a non-plate race, and then a plate race.
Yeah.
And then a road course. And then a short track. And then 2 intermediates. And another... Or no, an intermediate, a super speedway and a road course.
You know what else you got coming up?
What's that?
My birthday.
Oh.
Yeah.
How quick?
Monday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have a happy birthday, Dewey Spectacular?
I don't know. Could do that. What I know we're going to have is a green flag.
Take us back.
As Zach Rogers will make his way out of 4, putting us back to the green once again, and off we go here on lap number 60. Another great jump there for the 5 into turn 1, and Rick Craddock is wasting no time trying to get those spots back.
Craddock's been lights out here on the restarts. Gets by Wiley King through turns 1 and 2. Now Clements looking to the inside of the 095 for the 6th spot as he's way up the track.
Yeah, Craddock had made that pass before the pace car even parked at the end of pit road, so he was
He was ready.
very efficient with it.
Silver Bullet to the inside of Terry Scott for position.
Monty Keller a little slow there out of turn 2, but still has Brain Fade and Ricky J behind him.
Still Zach Rogers, though, up in front of the field. Tyler Mallon sits in second. Nelly there in third. McDaddy fourth. And Rick Craddock rounds out your top 5.
I think Silver Bullet might have figured something out there in the 4. Looks much better than he did on those first couple of runs, and now runs back in the top 10 here in that 4 machine. Battle for third, Mac Daddy to the inside of Nelly, and he will complete that pass. So their return to the front is just about complete for that 28. Just needs to pass Tyler, and he'll be back where he started.
But he continues to climb back through the field. It's taken some time for the 28, but there's something to be said about being methodical at a track like Martinsville in that climb back to the front.
Same goes for the 92. Of course, we saw the spin by him from third earlier. Now runs back up in sixth. So both him and Mac Daddy have done really nice jobs of climbing their way back through this field. Still all Zach Rogers as we complete lap 67. That 5 car has been out front for, I think, all but 3 of them. And those were only laps under caution where somebody stayed out to lead the lap. So it has been quite the dominating performance for the driver of the 5 so far tonight. Still a ways to go, but looking good for now.
Rogers setting the tone and pace here tonight at Martinsville. He's pulled out to a decent lead. Mallon staying within visual distance. Although how difficult is that really at a short track like this? As the 5 continues to try to stretch the lead.
Yeah, with a track as small as this one, you're pretty much going to be in the distance of at least one person the entirety of the race. You're always going to be near someone. There's nowhere to hide, nowhere to run at a track like this. Ricky J and Silver Bullet doing battle here out of turn 2. That is for, I believe, 9th. Silver Bullet did a nice job of fighting there on that top side to try to keep that spot still side by side at the line. But I think Ricky J will prevail here shortly with that preferred bottom groove, and there he goes.
Ricky J moving up another position past Silver Bullet this time.
Yeah, the 93 had gotten up to 3rd or 4th earlier, and I think he may have pit on a caution where no one else did to find himself back there again. But we still have 100 laps to go, or 101 this time. So still prior to halfway here for tonight, and still a lot of time for that 93 to work his way back up to the front, as we've seen the 92 and the 28 do. Joshua Clements is really trying to get by the 22 of Rick Craddock right now. He has thrown it into the corner a couple of times, trying to take that spot, but just can't quite get the nose underneath that 22 yet.
Not that Craddock's kind of holding up these guys, but they are starting to kind of get stuck behind this 22, right? It's kind of it's a good skill set to have on a short track like this, where it's really so one groove. And it reverts us back to that question I asked you in the Open, Dewey. When is it okay to use the bumper on your race car? Because Clements continues to run here seemingly faster than the 22. He's going to continue to grow frustrated with Craddock in that lime green ski machine.
Yeah, and it's not anything that Craddock is doing wrong either. Should preface this by saying that as important of a skill set as it is to be able to get around guys clean, it's also an important skill set to be able to keep guys behind you in a situation like this, because if we were looking at about 5 laps to go instead of about 95, obviously Craddock would want to hold all these guys off to finish in the top 5. So both of these guys have their own race to run, but both of whom trying to work on the other and keep them where they are. Right now, the 22 doing the better job of that, but the 92, you can tell, is starting to grow a little impatient. And I'm afraid for him that if he keeps doing that, he might wear his tires out too much and allow Wiley King there in the 95 to end up getting by. So Clements has got to play his cards carefully here, where he wants to get by the 22, but doesn't want to let the 95 by at the same time.
So you're saying there's a couple things going on right now?
There are definitely a couple of things going on right now. Clements really sent it in again that time. The 92 definitely looks to be the quicker car here, but again, Craddock has done a really nice job of just running his groove, running his own race, and keeping everybody behind him at bay.
Tyler Mallon has also closed in on Zach Rogers for the race lead. Coming up on lap traffic, that's Magoo in the 144, as these two are set to battle once again for the top spot this season.
And this is really the first challenge we've seen to that 5 car all night tonight. So back when I was saying on the previous yellow, where maybe the 18 has been running well, but perhaps Tyler changed something that he thinks might get him closer to the 5, and I think that's might have been what we saw here, as that's definitely closer than anybody's run to the back of Zach Rogers up until this point tonight. And into turn 3, Clements is going to turn the 22, and up into the outside wall goes Rick Craddock, and we're going to be back under caution here on lap 85.
Told you he was going to grow frustrated with it, Dewey. And I think
he did.
I don't know if he meant to send him, but he did.
Regardless of intent, the 22 is at the outside wall, and the 92 will probably have to go to the rear here for the restart, as we'll get a look and see what exactly took place there in turn 3.
Replay, he gets in too deep, right? He's trying to make a pass.
Yeah, obviously I don't think the 92 was trying to turn the 22 or anything like that, but I think the 92 saw an opening there to finally get by him, and it just closed before he knew it, and
Dude, this...
lost, they make contact.
As we go up above, let's actually, before we show that, let's slow it down for the folks at home and kind of talk them through this. What happens here off of turn number... Or let's go all the way back to entry of turn 1. Let's talk you through this. Clements has been really aggressive on the braking. He's closing the gap. You see it there. Gets to the back bumper of the 22 of Craddock. Craddock looks to slip up a little bit here on exit. Clements is close. He's close. This is about the closest he's been in a few laps. Dewey, I'm watching this from above. The 92 is pulling out a line halfway down the back straightaway. It just looks like he's almost like he's trying to outbrake the 22 of Craddock. Craddock comes down, the 92's there. The 92's also going up the track. It's one of those we're going for the same bit of real estate, and at the end of the day, someone winds up in the outside wall, and it's the car on the outside of the 2 wide, that being Craddock in this instance.
And not too much damage, of course, for the 22 either. Thankfully, you got it woed down enough.
His pride might be damaged, though.
Perhaps. car, not so much, which is a good thing. But obviously, Craddock, you saw trying to diamond the corner as he had been that entire run, and
Yep.
it's just that time he had a 92 car underneath him when he went to do it, and around he went. Again, not a bad move necessarily by the 92. He saw the opening and went for it. Just, maybe in some people's eyes you could argue it was a little too early for that type of aggression, but you could also see the 92 had been behind Rick for that entire run, about 10-15 laps. So, yeah, there's still a lot of racing left, but you can definitely tell that there was a little bit of frustration behind that move. Again, I'm sure that was not the intention at all, but sometimes that's just how it goes.
So Zach Rogers once again going to lead us back to green in this DuPont Chevrolet. That's Rodrigo in chat, quoting the great Denny Hamlin. It's just short track racing. Dude, you got a good Denny Hamlin impression?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Thought maybe you would. Dewey likes to take this seriously, so I get to be a little sillier up in the booth when I'm working with Dewey, so that way we balance out.
I also just don't have a good Denny Hamlin impression.
No, I wasn't talking about that specifically as we go back green with Rogers with control. Good jump this time by the 5. Last time down here in turns 1 and 2.
Whoa, Ricky J up into the wall.
How'd that happen?
How did that happen? That's a good question. I think Wiley King moved up a lane in the 95 and bumper grabbed the 93. But he keeps it straight, a loss minus a couple of spots. Clemens already going to work, trying to get those spots back. He'll get around brain fade there out of turn 2 for 12th. Of course, took an EOL there for the restart.
The climb continues. Mac Daddy's up into 3rd in that 28 car now. And these guys are clutching at the front. So we're in fuel save mode, apparently, Dewey.
Indeed we are, but I think the trend we've had like 6-ish cautions now, so I think we'll likely have at least 1 or 2 more before the end of the race, and if that does happen, it should take us out of fuel range and into you're good to the end range. But of course, you don't know that right now. Could go green to the end for all anybody knows. So, not a bad strategy to do it just to be safe. Got a little battle here into turn 3. Terry Scott a little slow into the corner. Clements, Monty Keller, and Brain Fade all right there trying to take advantage. I think the 66 is backing up his corners a little bit, and it's catching the guys behind him off guard.
Well, and you kind of gotta be prepared for that, right?
Of course you do, but sometimes it still can create quite the unexpected surprise. Power Malin is wheeling it, trying to catch that 5 car right now. Done a nice job keeping up with Zach Rogers since the restart. Hasn't quite been able to get enough to stick the nose in underneath the 5, but definitely letting him know that he's there. And that if the 5 messes up, the 18 will pounce.
Oh, Clemens is around hard into the inside
Oh,
wall down the front
no.
straightaway. Caution going to be out. A heavy lick, and that's going to be the end of the night for Joshua Clements.
Yeah, it looked like a similar deal to Ken Hansen earlier, but a much harder hit into the wall than we saw the 9 take earlier. And yeah, I think that's the end of what has quickly become a rough night there for Joshua Clements.
Under this caution, good opportunity to remind you folks at home, we got great racing action coming up for you tomorrow night. And then a CRA Daytona 500K. Coverage kicking off 8 p.m. Eastern time for the green flag from Daytona. Then 1 week from tonight, the Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series heads back. Super Speedway Racing, this time at the Talladega Super Speedway, 9:05 p.m. Eastern time. And then the Bomb Squad Racing Truck Series heads to Infineon Raceway on Wednesday, March 6th. Coverage for that one, 9:05 p.m. Eastern time. Those races, much more, are going to be live right here only on JTN, presented by our friends at SchemeHaven.com. Dude, what is Scheme Haven for maybe some folks out that haven't checked out the site just yet?
Scheme Haven is a brand spanking new NASCAR paint scheme archive page. If you're one of those guys that likes to reminisce on previous years of racing and what it looked like, Scheme Haven is the place for you. Be sure to go check it out at SchemeHaven.com.
You're doing an excellent job getting that all set up. Years and years of collections. Dewey is a big spreadsheet guy, and I got to see a little bit of the behind the scenes before we were going. He was working on that as we were doing some of our show prep for this race tonight. And Dewey is a big spreadsheet guy. All right.
All about organization.
And he's got every paint scheme pretty much for all these drivers and teams listed. And he's got, hey, do I have these pictures yet or not? And he's filling in this spreadsheet. He's putting pictures on the site, making sure it's updated for all you folks out there.
A lot of work for one
Doing
person.
a great job.
It is a work in progress for sure. I only got so many hours in the day, just like you. We're getting there. We are getting there. Down to 14 cars left on the track with the retirement of the 92. All of whom are still on the lead lap.
What's a lead lap?
I don't know. What was that? As pace lights are off, so we'll go back green here. We'll have 70 to go when they take the green. So I think we might be out of fuel saving range now with that yellow. It'll be close.
And ready to go back green here. Green flag, we're back underway.
Not a great start there for Malin, but a good start for Silver Bullet, as he's going to try to get underneath the 28 for third, but couldn't quite get the bite off the corner he needed. Rick Craddock in the 22 has done a really nice job recovering from the contact with Clements earlier, now back up into 5th, and with the bobble there by Silver Bullet, might have a chance at 4th here into turn 3.
And we talked about Silver Bullet having some car handling woes early on in this race. They've done an excellent job of getting that thing, and I'm going to stop talking because that was a big moment.
Though.
I'm going to stop talking.
I think there's still a little bit left to do with it. But
I'm going to stop talking.
It's definitely better, though, than it was earlier, regardless. Of course, up into 4th place now as they run. Top 3 all under a relative blanket into turn 1. Definitely you can see that they've started to separate themselves from the rest of the field, and that's a change from the previous restarts. It was the 5 and the 18 pulling away from everyone else the last time, but this time Mac Daddy and the 28 is doing a nice job of keeping up with these top two, so perhaps he might be one to watch on this run, though I think he might have to stop hitting the wall at a turn 4 for that to stay true.
He likes that wall. It's his friend.
We've done a great job of jinxing guys we're talking about so far, huh?
Yeah, Zach Rogers and Tyler Mellon, they're just doing fantastic. They're excellent race car drivers. They're running 1-2 right now once again this year. Feels like they've been 1-2 in every race.
Steve Grant's in the inside wall.
But we're still green.
Joe. Hit the inside wall across the line on the front stretch. No caution, but definitely some left side damage for that 011 machine.
Wiley
Silver
King.
Bullets up the hill. Here comes Wiley King.
He'll get on by Silver Bullet for 5th. Nelly gonna be the next guy to get to the inside of this 4 car heading down into turn 3. Got the nose in there.
And that 4 car is starting to trend the wrong way. Restarted in 4th, about to lose, I think, 8th there to Ricky J. So he definitely got some of the handling fixed, but again, still looks like some work to do to get it exactly where he wants it.
Back up front, Zach Rogers still with the lead, but here comes Tyler Mellon in the 18.
Yeah, Tyler really hasn't been aggressive in terms of trying to pass at any point so far. He's just been kind of lurking in the distance, maybe 2 or 3 tenths behind that 5 car. Likely just waiting to see if the 5 makes a mistake that he can take advantage of. And I think that's a good strategy to have. You know you're a very fast car, and yet you really don't need to do anything, as we do have a caution out once again. But Tyler knows, of course, his car is very fast, and he doesn't really need to be aggressive to stay up towards the front, so he has the ability to just take it a little easy until it matters at the end.
Bonnie Keller going around here off of turn 4. That brings out this caution.
Pretty similar to the Steve Grant half spin from a couple laps ago, but the 028 went all the way around as opposed to the 011, so good opportunity here for Steve to get that damage fixed and put 4 fresh tires on the car and be good to go here for the rest of the race.
Greg Stenzowski in chat asks an excellent question, as Zach Rogers is alone on the racetrack right now. Oh, man. Oh,
That
no.
is a decision.
Oh, no.
Not sure about that one, but we'll see. I don't know, Joe. Gotta channel my inner Tony Romo. I don't know, Joe.
Oh, Jim, I don't know.
I don't know, Jim.
Greg Stenzowski in chat asks, hey, Joe, why do you think talking about a driver jinxes them? You talk about the leaders all night and nothing ever seems to happen to them. Does the jinx only apply to cars outside the top 5? Greg, it would appear so.
Tyler Mellon is a perfect driver that never makes mistakes. No. And Steve Grant's going backwards on pit road.
How did that happen?
We had some contact. Steve Grant was on the inside pit lane. Rick Craddock was on the outside pit lane. Wiley King came out of his pit stall, and the 3 of them all collided.
Oh, no.
And Wiley King got thrown into Terry Scott in the 66, too.
There's, like, dead crew members all over the pit lane right now. I'm glad we can't see them.
Steve just got his damage fixed, and then he hit the pit wall, so now he's got to go get it fixed again. Don't see pit road collisions very often, but of course a bit of a narrower pit road here at Martinsville, and saw the end result of that there.
Steve was using his block-in move there to try to keep Silver Bullet behind them.
Using Terry Scott as a pick while getting his tires changed.
Jeez. Yeah, Adam, I think Ken retired from this one Had a couple self spins, and I think he elected to park it.
Yeah, I don't think that 9 was ever really handling how we hoped it would, and brought out 2 cautions and said, I think that's enough for me for tonight. Saw Joshua Clements do the same about 20-25 laps ago. Spun a couple of times and said, alright, that's it for me. But again, Martinsville, maybe not everybody's strong suit, but we have the great equalizer next week at Talladega where anybody and everybody can take home the checkered flag. So if your night isn't so great tonight, just know that next week you have a great opportunity to beat everybody else and win. Still got 55 laps to go tonight first, though. Green flag back out into turn 1. Zach Rogers goes. We've got a little bit of contact towards the back, I think, between Wiley King and Terry Scott. Those two battling around Steve Grant and Silver Bullet now into turn 3. Oh, contact! Silver Bullet gets into the 95, and then the 65 does, and into the inside wall will go Wiley King, and just like that, we are back under yellow again here on lap 122.
A replay of this one. It became a cluster off of turn number 4. Things got a little congested, Dewey. Wiley King
Yes,
trying to
they
get to the
did.
inside of Terry Scott. Silver Bullet also there. Radisky there in the 65.
Yeah, that group in turn 4 looked like my nose during a cold, as it all got congested and it had nowhere to go.
I mean, that's disgusting. Why would you say that?
That's a good analogy.
Disgusting.
Unbelievable.
Hey, big shout out to you.
It's not what I meant.
Joseph Weaver was supposed to be calling this race tonight. He's been under the weather. We talked with him last night. You know, he was starting to feel like he was coming down with something. He was at Daytona Monday night in the cold. He was brave in the cold to give us some content here on JTN, but
Good content at that.
But shout out to you, Dewey, for getting on that private plane, getting down here to Martinsville in rather quick time, rather short notice. So a big thank you to you. I know all the fans are appreciative that you're here with me tonight, and it's not just me calling this race, because boy howdy, that probably wouldn't be very fun for the fans at home. They've heard enough of me this week so far, but yeah, man. Appreciate you. So I'm gonna do 4 nights of broadcasting with 4 different broadcast partners each night.
A lot of chemistry built up.
A lot of chemistry getting built up.
Of course, Chris on the call tomorrow.
Yep. From Daytona.
That'll be a fun one. I can't wait for that one.
Got COTs in that one too.
Yeah.
So
Don't see those very often anymore.
no,
so it's
we've
always
never done a
treat when you
COT
do.
race here on JTN, so that'll be fun. They of course had a photo finish last year in that race, so looking forward to hopefully seeing something similar. Yeah, and Greg says kudos to you and your congested nose, by the way.
Yeah, had a good finish in the fast race at Daytona a few
That's
nights
true.
ago as well. Been a lot of good super speedway action here on the channel in recent days.
Yes.
And of course, 7 days from now we'll have even more of it, as these guys get to head to Dega for the first time this year.
A little different, right? Dega's a little different than Daytona, a little bit wider. A little bit more room to maneuver.
Of course, with the real-life racing at Atlanta, so these guys go to the old Atlanta and not the new one.
Well, they're out there. You know, the haters are always out there, and I'm always, you know, always defending from the haters. So, you know, they got their haterade and they be hating. But I know
What flavor is that haterade?
I know all the folks here in chat, they're not haters. They love what we do here on JTN. We can't thank you guys enough for tuning in, for talking with us throughout these races, especially when we have cautions. We always appreciate that, because of course we're not like Fox. We don't have the opportunity to kind of dip away and shoot the you know what between each other. So yeah.
I'm sure you'd get real sick of the repetitive commercials anyway.
Yeah, you know, I need to try it first. Yeah.
I did not need that put back in my head.
You're welcome.
Oh, man. I'm gonna spend like a week trying to forget that again now. What I hope we don't forget is how good of a restart this should be. 48 to go at the line. Zach Rogers, like he has all night, will lead us back to it.
Well, I would love a mid-race Wendy's ad, because then I'd get free Wendy's. Green flag.
I'd be down for free Wendy's. That sounds pretty
Oh,
cool.
no.
Oh, my goodness, Mac Daddy. Oh, no. And just like on lap 17, that 28 noses it into the outside wall.
Yeah, this one wasn't his
fault.
fault.
Right back on the yellow again.
Dude, this one wasn't his fault. Nelly gonna get into the back of Mac Daddy, and everyone in the race room is gonna be saying their favorite phrase. We can't repeat it on here, but it rhymes with Truck Nelly. They like to have fun here at PSR.
Tough break, though, for Mac Daddy. He done such a nice job recovering from that spin, got himself back up to third, and definitely looks like there was more damage to the front of that car than there was on the first spin. And with way less laps to go now than there were earlier, it is going to be quite the tall task for him to gain all that ground back.
Well, we're coming down to the end of this race, right, Dewey? We talk about when these races get shortened with cautions and whatnot, like this one has. The intensity gets ratcheted up. The moves get a little bit more dire, and you're starting to see that. Starting to see that.
And again, we talked about grooves earlier, where you take maybe 10-15 minutes to, when you have a green flag run, if we get one that long from here on out, to really get yourself into a nice rhythm and get some good laps in and get a feel for how your car drives and how the track drives. Well, with how quick these laps are being ticked off, in 10-15 minutes this thing will be over. So there really isn't much time to find a groove at this point. You just have to go and hope that you can gain as much as possible without anybody else getting into you. So it's going to be a monumental challenge for Mac Daddy to A, get that damage repaired in time for the restart, and B, to hope his car isn't damaged enough where he can't try to get some spots back. But we know the car is fast. At least it was. Hopefully still is. But we shall see. And I believe Nelly will be taking an EOL for the restart as well. Zach Rogers, though, hit from the lead.
Yeah, I don't.
Tyler did not.
I don't like that. Track position so crucial here.
This is, yeah, I don't know. Like, the 5 car has been by far the best car of the night, and I don't know if yielding the lead with 40 to go is the right decision. I think if you were going to go off cycle like this, you'd have been better off doing it maybe on lap 40 as opposed to 40 to go. I mean, for all we know, obviously still a lot of time left for things to happen, but for all we know, we may have just watched Zach Rogers hand the winning keys over to Tower Malin. I have a feeling that if Zach can get himself at least back up into third, we may hear a little bit of regret, perhaps, on this decision in his interview. We shall see, though. Still a lot of time left, a lot of things can happen, but the optics of this one definitely interesting, to say the least. So for the first time tonight, we have a different car than Zach Rogers leading us to the restart. It'll be Tower Malin this time. Rick Craddock now up into second with the spin of Mac Daddy and the EOL to Nelly. Ricky J third, Steve Grant fourth, and Terry Scott now rounds out the top 5. So a very different looking top 5 than what we've seen up to this point tonight. Back and away we go.
Here comes Rick Craddock.
Oh man.
Rick Craddock, man, he tries every time. He's trying to get an easy couple spots on the restart. I
Not a
love
lot
it.
of time left. Got to take what you can get.
Dude, I love it.
So do I. Ricky J is trying to get by that 22 now, though, at 4. But as those two battle, it's going to help the 18 pull away. So they got to pick their battles carefully and try not to take themselves out of a chance to win while trying to battle each other.
And Zach Rogers further back. He gets to the inside of Wiley King. He's got to make up spots, and he's got to make them up quick. He's back now into the 10th position. Gonna try to take 9th.
Maybe 7th here with Brain Fade out of 4.
Am I counting wrong?
Maybe? Wiley King gonna try to throw it in underneath the 49 as well. Clips the curb, no harm, no foul. They'll be side by side out of turn 2. But that 5 car already up into 7th. Gonna try to work on Silver Bullet here out of 4. It's all Tyler Mallon though up at the front as Craddock and Ricky J continue to go at it here for 2nd. Into turn 3 for 6th place. Zach Rogers inside, Silver Bullet outside, advantage Rogers. Down the back stretch, into turn 3, Rogers will get 5th from Terry Scott. That 5 car is picking him off one by one, and he's doing it quick. Got fresher tires than everybody ahead of him, and we know that car was fast already. And he has taken no time at all working his way back up through this field. Battle for 4th about to take place. Steve Grant in the 011 going to try to fend off the 5. Goes a little wide there into 3 and 4, and that's going to allow Zach to take the inside lane here across the stripe and up into 4th. Goes our pole sitter. Next up on the list, Rick Craddock in the 22, who's lost ground there to Ricky J for that 2nd spot. This is one heck of a drive right now that Rogers is putting together.
As he tries to continue this climb to the front of the field in this 5 car, Tyler Mallon is pulling away with the race lead, and time is of the essence right now for the 5. Zach Rogers might need a caution. And Dewey, we're kind of setting up that fall race. You know, the 5 got into 93 that spun out the 18, and there were some hurt feelings after that race here in the fall 1 year ago, or last year, not really 1 year ago, but last year. And right now, if there's a late race caution, we might be setting up for something similar.
Indeed, we might be, but the 18 is gone, so I think the 5 definitely on this run can at least get up to 2nd, but he might need a yellow to get that 18. Especially if he spends any more time behind his 22, and just I say that.
That's a different kind of jinx.
Well. I think it's for the 65 of Adam Radisky.
Radisky just going around by his lonesome into turn 3. Or through turns 3 and 4, excuse me.
So this presents an interesting set of circumstances. So we were skeptical about the 5 pitting, but he just ripped off those spots like it was nothing. And now everybody's, or not everybody, but we've got more people on pit road. Zach's going to come back down this time. Craddock and Ricky J ahead of him pit. Steve Grant, Silver Bullet, and Wiley King stay out behind Tyler. So all these guys must have seen what Zach just did and say, hey, maybe I can do that too. So this could be a very, very interesting restart now, as we're going to have multiple guys on fresh tires. So perhaps Zach Rogers with that move being a trendsetter as opposed to the outlier, but interesting either way. I think Mac Daddy may have taken 2 tires that time, because he leapfrogged about 3 people on that pit stop.
Well, Dewey, we're gonna have what, 5 cars that stayed out?
Believe so, and 1 on 2 tires in Mac Daddy.
So 4 cars that stayed out.
Right. So, Zach was 4th at the time of the caution. He's going to restart 7th now. He got ahead of Craddock, but lost a negative 0 with Mac Daddy passing him with the 2-tire stop. So now it'll be a matter of how quickly the 93 and the 5 can get around these guys that stayed out. We know the 18's fast regardless of how worn his tires are. That's just kind of how it is with Tyler Mallon. So if anybody's going to take him out of this win, the 5 and the 93 are going to have to really mean business on this restart and get by all these guys that stayed out. And they're going to have to do it quick.
Quick, you say?
Quick, I say. As we'll have 25 to go at the line for the restart. Tyler, Steve Grant, Silver Bullet, Wiley King, 1 through 4 on older tires. Mac Daddy, I believe, took 2. He'll be 5th. And then Ricky J and Zach Rogers now in 7th after being 4th at the yellow. Will pitting a second time work out for him too.
25 laps to decide it. Tyler Mallon with control for the restart. Wiley King already pulling out of line. Green flag, we're underway. The 095 with trouble on the restart.
Zach Rogers already making a move to the inside. He runs a little wide though, and that's going to allow Rick Craddock to open it up and around. The 5 goes. Did he save it? No,
he saved
did,
it, but Nelly's
didn't.
around.
Caution's back out. Not what Zach Rogers wanted. He dropped
No, he
2
lost
spots
2
there
spots.
to Monty Keller and Rick Craddock.
We talked about Craddock aggressive on all these restarts. Wouldn't expect anything else. He saw a hole there. He took it.
Silver Bullet got 3rd from... Or no, Silver Bullet was already 3rd. But Mac Daddy did get 4th from Wiley King prior to the yellow.
Just look at this log
almost
jam.
the worst case scenario for Zach.
Yeah, that 095 being slow there on the bottom, I think, kind of messed with the 93 and the 5.
It did, and Zach saved it. He did a very nice job saving it, but he still lost spots, which.
Oh, and he slid the
late in
tires,
race
right?
Yeah.
Put heat and wear on the tires that you don't really want to put on them right now.
But at this point, regardless of tire wear, you're looking at being in 9th place with under 20 laps to go on the restart, and that's not conducive to winning races. Unless you're at Talladega, and then it might be. So, a plan that we were skeptical of at first and then actually looked like it was working very well, I think it might be going back into the skeptical bucket here for that 5, is of course when you pit like that, yes, you have fresher tires, but you always run the risk of getting caught up in something, and the 5 has indeed gotten caught up in something. So I don't think this one has paid off quite the way he wanted. Of course, a lot of things can still happen, like we saw last week at Texas, but his chances of winning definitely looking more bleak than they were 10 laps ago.
Are you ready to re-rack them?
Indeed I am.
Gonna be less than 20 laps to go now when we get the restart. So every caution kind of weaning away some laps that are going to be crucial for those guys that had come down pit lane. Mac Daddy right now in first, but only with 2 tires. Big track position, really just kind of playing crucial and, you know, not that these drivers are dumb or anything, but Dewey, are they turning the brains off a little bit here late in the race? Maybe a little extra aggressive?
I don't think they're turning the brains off. I think they might be adjusting some wiring in there or something. Or maybe going to the circuit board and flipping off a switch and flipping another one on or something. Something you don't typically
Flipping a breaker?
see that the jury's still out on whether or not it works. As we'll have 19 to go this time by. Tyler leading us to it again.
Let's see how things go. Mailing with control. Right up against that outside wall. Green flag. We're back underway here from Martinsville.
Good start by Steve Grant and Silver Bullet there into 1. Wiley King making a move on Ricky J. They are double wide here out of turn 2.
Mac Daddy trying to make the outside work, trying to get around Silver Bullet. He is clear of the 4. Ricky J going to look to do the same. Craddock shipped up the hill there. Rogers now to his inside, and Zach is wheeling it off of the final corner.
Zach has got to go, and he's got to go quick, but they might wreck ahead of him. Wiley King and Craddock are going to get into each other, and the 22 is going to spin in the middle of 1 and 2. And the caution is back out again, Joe.
Mac Daddy now up into second with those 2 tires, Dewey.
It got around Steve.
They get them re-racked.
That's about the 4th time that Rick Craddock's been turned by somebody in this race. He has had a hell of a go of it here tonight.
There you see the replay.
Has some contact between him and Wiley King, so I think we might see the 095 taking an EOL perhaps here for this restart, which is going to really hurt him in the finishing order.
Speeds down pit road to get that penalty.
Looks like we have no other takers on pit road, which at this point makes sense. Just too few laps to even try anything. At this point, you've made your bed, and you gotta lay in it. Though I think if you're Zach Rogers, you might have just a little bit of time to maybe adjust the sheets or the blanket to make it a little more comfortable. So Tyler, at this point, along with Steve and Silver Bullet, they've got the oldest tires in the field. Mac Daddy's got 2 that are a little fresher than the others, but 2 that are just as bad. Ricky J and Zach Rogers still with relatively fresh tires after pitting a few yellows ago. So Zach's going to have, I think, about 10 laps, 11 laps to get from 6th to the lead, and that's assuming we don't have another yellow. And I don't know if that's an assumption that can be made. It has been a fascinating race so far tonight. And it still isn't over.
It's been fascinating indeed, Dewey. Remember, folks, got more great race snacks coming up for you tomorrow night. NSCRA Daytona 500K going to be live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We had a photo finish last year. It was the craziest thing. I have a feeling we're going to see more of that this year. Make sure you tune in again tomorrow night, Friday, February 23rd, 8 p.m. Eastern. Special start time for that one. Coverage, of course, again, live right here, only on JTN. Got more Bomb Squad Racing League action next week and the following week as well. Maverick Cup Series fast. Renegade Cup Series also with some more events next month. So a lot of great races coming up for you here on JTN. But first, we got to finish this one from Martinsville. Tyler Mallon with control, restart, green flag. 12 laps to go here from Martinsville.
Mac Daddy threw it in there, couldn't quite get the nose underneath the 18 though, but look at the Hornets nest developing behind him as they're all over the place here down the backstretch.
All over the place indeed. Can Tyler Mallon hold on for the win? Steve Grant now battling with Ricky J for the third spot. Mallon's loose off the corner.
Here comes the 28 up to the outside.
Ricky J also trying to fight on the outside of Steve Grant. It's going to be a drag race down the back straightaway. Can the 18 get the power down, or will Mac Daddy power by on the outside? Ricky J through to third. Zach Rogers going to try to follow him through on that outside. Again, as we keep our eyes locked on the battle for the lead with 10 laps to go.
It's getting good. It's getting spicy. It's getting everything. Look at the send by Zach there into turn one, trying to get third from Ricky J.
Ricky J's not going to be happy about that. Move. He is not going to be happy about that.
It worked, though.
It worked because Ricky J let it work, man. He cleared about half a lane higher than he had to.
9 to go, and Zach Rogers up into third. He's going to go to work on Mac Daddy here, who's also sending it into one. Oh, boy. They are wheeling it right now. All of them are.
Do you want some good show, Mac Daddy?
Oh, Mac Daddy! Oh, no! Oh, no, he really threw it in there that time, and around the 28 goes.
Caution.
And I think the 28's called it a night here, Joe.
That was a Hail Mary if I've ever seen one, Dewey.
Yeah, he certainly went for it. He left it all out and came up a little short.
He almost had it saved, too. He almost kept it going straight.
What a chaotic 3 laps that was. That was awesome. So we're going to have time for one more restart. If we have another yellow after this, it's likely going to end under caution.
But we're kind of where we've been all year, aren't we? Tyler Mallon with the lead late. Zach Rogers in second.
Funny how that works.
It's cream rises to the top, right?
Deja vu. We have been in this place before.
That's about the most fun I think we've had in a while on one of these short tracks, too. Or at least here at Martinsville. That was awesome. Shout out to these guys. And they were side by side for the lead and for third.
They were side by side for like 7th, too. We just didn't get a good eye on it. Nelly and Silver Bullet were having a hell of a battle themselves further back. So, we're going to have 6 to go now. Probably going to run 2, maybe 3 more laps under yellow. So we're setting up for probably 3-4 laps for the restart. A caution after that will definitely end the race under yellow. So I think at this point, if you're Zach and Ricky J, you've basically got to treat every lap like it's the last one. Because if that yellow comes out and you haven't made your move yet, you're not going to have the chance to do it. So we're going to have 3, maybe 4 laps to go, but every one of them might as well be the white flag.
Hey, you never know when it's going to end, right?
Exactly. Pace lights are still on, which means they're going to have at least 2 more laps under yellow, including this one. So we're looking at a 3 to go restart. So Zach, who was wiping the floor with the field prior to about lap 130, we saw him take that off-cycle pit stop to get the fresh tires. Saw a heck of a battle, saw him lose some spots. Gradually worked his way all the way back up here now to second. and he's going to have 3 laps or less to try to get that lead away from Tyler and the win away after dominating so much of this race. So we'll have 3 laps, or again, maybe less, to see if the strategy works, or if maybe he was better off status quo.
I think Zach Rogers is about to send it down here to turn 1 on this restart, Dewey.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Ricky J might be able to pick up the pieces. Yeah.
I think the 93 might be in the best spot here out of anybody.
Coming to the restart, green flag, 3 to go here. Malin already defensive. Rogers going to try the outside.
Ricky J's trying the inside, though. He sent it in himself.
They'll be side by side here off of turn number 2, hoping that they can get back to the line and get another crack at it. Rogers on the outside, Malin on the bottom. 5 cars up the hill. He's going to have to try to have a strong drive off.
Boy, did he. He's going to lead it at the line with 2 to go.
And he's clear.
Oh, and Tyler gets into him. They both go up the hill and keep it straight, but the caution's out. Who was the leader?
They're racing back, Dewey.
Well, Ricky J's up to the lead in the 93. They both send it again into turn 3. The 5 spins the 18.
He
and
pushed him out of the way.
4, Ricky J is going to take the win.
Oh, man.
We said it. The 93 was in the best spot out of anybody, and there you see
Oh,
it.
they gotta slow down for this pace car.
From the 2 most dominant cars of the race.
Oh, my goodness.
What a
Oh,
race.
my goodness.
Oh, man.
If that ain't getting clipped for the TikTok and the Instagram and the Facebook and the YouTube Shorts, I don't know what is.
Oh, man. And out of turn 4, Ricky J is going to take the dub in what was probably the most entertaining race of the season up to this point.
And folks, we got lost in it, but that was your Death Craver 1 to go. Remember, check out the new novel by Zach Rogers, now out on Amazon. That's Death Craver with a K. Let's get a replay.
Yeah, there's a lot to digest there.
Nelly also, Nelly went around
Yeah, I think that was the
with some
caution.
contact with Silver Bullet. That was the caution. So some of these cars actually probably took the yellow. So let's get a replay of that caution first. There you see it.
Oh, no, the caution was out, I think, before.
It was out before they made the contact.
Yeah, something else had already happened.
That's what I'm saying. Nelly and Silver Bullet was what happened.
Oh, they must have already gotten it going. I think my replay was not synced up or something.
And there you
What a
see
race,
Malin
though,
driving
either way.
into the 5 of Rogers. He's up the track. Ricky J says, I don't mind if I do. And then here's Zach Rogers he's paying him back a little bit. You know, he's not going to feel too bad about that.
No. But it's still very impressive, though, that, like, yeah, they sent each other, but they both kept it straight, and they both finished inside the top 3 still.
Top 5.
Or Tower lost some spots, but Zach was still second, and how about out of all of that, too, Monty Keller got 4th. We have not talked about that 028 machine a lot this season, but he was able to escape all of that last lap mayhem and gets a really impressive top 5 run here in that 028.
Ricky
Job
J.
well done for him and his team.
Ricky J gonna bring it around, and he'll get to burn it down for the fans here in Martinsville.
What a finish. If you don't like that, you don't like short track racing.
I don't know what you like if you don't like that.
If you don't like that, I think you're an idiot.
If you don't like that, don't even watch. Pretty good race car driver said that, Dewey.
Wow.
So we'll move on to our post-race coverage. Get results on your screens here in a few moments, folks. Again, can't thank you enough for tuning in to JTN tonight. Make sure if you haven't already, drop a like on the video and subscribe. Again, doing so helps support us so much here on JTN, the JoeTow Network. But yeah, I mean, Dewey, that was a phenomenal finish.
Worth the price of admission.
It sucks that it didn't finish under green, right? I think we could talk about that to high noon, but had some excellent racing there before Mac Daddy went around to bring out that last or the second to last caution, I guess. But then a great battle there between the guys that we talk about each and every week. And at the end of the day, there's probably some hurt feelings down there in the garage area, or maybe they'll be happy and smiling. But I think deep down there's definitely some hurt feelings, but they might be a little more. It might be a little smiley on the outside.
Maybe a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B on that one. I mean, either way, of course, if you're Tyler and Zach, you're probably thinking, damn, I was that close to winning and needed one thing to go different. If you're Ricky J, you're thinking, wow, I can't believe I won that probably.
Right.
But I mean, either way, I think this is one of those where no matter what side of the coin you were on, you look back on it and say, man, I'm glad I was a part of that, because that truly was one of the best finishes I've ever seen.
Phenomenal finish to this race here tonight.
And now we get to talk to the guys that were involved in it.
I know. It's like, man, we're just doing. I mean, we're just living life,
We are.
We are just living life. All right. Well, results here on your screens in a couple of seconds, but let's go ahead and start by heading down into victory lane and talking with the guy that somehow won this race, driver of the number 93 Voiles Trucking Ford, Ricky J. Ricky, you got a copy.
Hello.
I didn't expect to be talking to you, so I honestly don't have too much prepared. What the hell happened there at the end?
The seas parted. That's all I know.
That's it? Just
Yes. It was crazy. I don't know how it happened. I did not have a car to win this race, but it was a lot of fun.
Tonight's race was one of those where, I don't want to say it wasn't a caution fest, right? But it definitely had its moments where it felt like everyone turned up the intensity dial, turned up the aggressiveness. Did you feel that behind the wheel? And if you did, how did you combat kind of continuing to divulge into that?
Oh, absolutely, for one. And two, I was just trying to put it where others weren't and hope that it worked out. A lot of guys were trying to protect the bottom, which they should, but because of that, it was kind of checking up. So I just took some chances, forced it on the outside, and hoped that it stuck and got the run off the turn. And it just positioned myself perfectly there for the end.
You see results on your screens at home, folks. When you look back at this race, obviously you only led 2 laps, the last 2. What is the takeaway for you in this 93 bunch? I know this is my generic question that I ask, but what is that takeaway tonight after kind of winning one where it felt like your 3rd, 4th best car?
Oh, it was a crazy experience, and it's just another good example that if you work hard at something and you apply the effort to it, then anything can possibly happen. This is the first time we've ran the game track Martinsville. It's the first time we've ran this version in quite a while, and it was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't have a set of 4 hours to go for it. So we just did what we could. I had a little bit of help from Tyler, and we just worked on it the best that we could, and we got it done. If this ain't a perfect example of anything's possible, then I don't know what is. So I'm glad we were able to come out and do what we did, and we'll continue to do our best.
Well, Ricky, it was a fun time here tonight. Congratulations on the race win at Martinsville, taking home another grandfather clock. Before we let you go, though, I want to give you the opportunity. You got great partners, of course, on the car. We know them. We love them. But also, I know you got some other folks to shout out, so I want to give you the opportunity. The floor is yours. You know what to do.
I just want to say thank you to you guys for doing the broadcast every single Thursday night. It's been a lot of fun to go back and watch these. I'm sure today will be the very much the same. Thank you to Brian and Kathy Voiles from Voiles Trucking. Thank you everybody for coming out and watching. Racing. And thank you everybody out there on JTN for watching. and Magoo and just everyone here at BSR for doing everything we do. We appreciate everyone here for hosting the server and coming out and running, and we'll see you next week.
Looking forward to it. As always, Ricky, again, congratulations on the race win here tonight from Martinsville. It's always a pleasure to get the opportunity to talk with you. Again, hope to be talking with you again soon, man.
Thank you so much. I'm still shaking.
Heck yeah, BSR Ricky J with another grandfather clock, your race winner here tonight from Martinsville. Let's go ahead and next bring in our second place finisher. He's the driver of the number 5. He leads the most laps here tonight. Zach Rogers. Zach, you got a copy?
Yep.
Any thoughts?
What's the most I can get away with on live broadcast? That's my thought.
Probably not as much as you want to. Let's
it bleeping sucks. How's that?
Yeah. No, hey, I get it, man. Obviously, you guys, caution comes out. I think that there's maybe a switch that gets turned off, right? 18 gets into you, you get into him. Kind of, I didn't think anything malicious, right? But how frustrating is that kind of in that moment and now kind of having to sit with it?
There's your answer.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair, man. When you look back at tonight, we saw you made the decision to come down pit lane, give up track position. There was one where you stayed out and everyone else came down pit lane. And there was one later where Tyler and a couple other guys, they stayed out. You restarted, I believe, 6th or 7th. 11th. Okay. Well, sorry. No. But then there was also one where you...
oh, no. Yeah, you're right.
That last one. There were a couple times where you got off.
I think
with the
it was 7th, and then I got bullied on a first lap restart down to 9th.
Mm-hmm.
So it was basically 9th.
How do you look at that as just part of the racing here at Martinsville, or?
It's kind of double hindsight. I wish I had pit when I had stayed out by myself, and then I probably wouldn't have pit ever again, because then when Tyler stayed out with 4 other people and I pit, I wish I had stayed out then. So, but, you know, who knows how many people would have stayed out with Tyler when I stayed out. Maybe it would have been the same amount. Maybe it would have been less, but you start running yellows and you're not using your tires up, and it worked to our advantage at the end because we were able to get back up to 2nd. And we had the late race restart. And then the programming in the robot short circuits when you least expect it to. And then I just kind of locked the left front up trying to get back by him and kind of almost cleaned him back out. But yeah, to set the record straight, Tyler didn't mean to wreck me. And
yeah.
It was just a simple mistake, and he feels pretty bad about it. So he's sorry for it. I'm sorry for getting back into him. And it's kind of ironic because when you look back at the fall race, I made a non-contact move that resulted in the 93 wrecking the 18, and then I went on to win the race. And then tonight there was a little bit of contact, but not enough contact to wreck me from the 18 into me, and then the 93 wins the race. So kind of ironic how this kind of came full circle. So now maybe when we come back here, I don't think we come here again this season, but whenever we come back here again, maybe none of us can like wreck each other and we can just race it out for the win.
Hey, it's a good place to start, you know? But
I'm still dive bombing every chance I get as long as I don't wreck someone.
Well, you know, I wouldn't expect you to change, Zach. You had a fantastic race here tonight, man. There's something to be said about being frustrated with finishing 2nd, but I won't complete it here because know that those emotions are pretty raw right now. A 2nd place run, though, nonetheless. Great run for you and this team. Before that, you go, I want to give you the opportunity. Got great partners on the car, as always. Got great things going on to shout out. Floor is yours, man. You know what to do.
Yeah, I got to thank DuPont for being on the car tonight. Very Jeff Gordon-esque performance, I'd say. Bass Pro Shops, Airheads. I I think my airhead's, my head's kind of airy right now, Joe. Kellogg's, Xfinity Partners, Corsair and Lowe's, Truck Partners, Rockwell, and Steve's Antioxidant Brew. Got to thank you for the broadcast and our One to Go partnership with Death Craver. Check out Death Craver with the K on Amazon. I'm feeling kind of like the character Bloodlust right now, but I'll get over it. Got to thank everyone here at Bomb Squad for honestly, it was a pretty good race. We had a lot of yellows, but it was a pretty good race. And I'm not being biased because I led a lot, but I learned really quickly once I hit pit that dirty air sucks here. So got to thank Magoo for allowing me to race here along with all the other clubhouse members, and Magoo for putting the show on. Brian and Kathy Voiles, of course, for sponsoring these Thursday night races that allowed us to give you the show tonight. I think my buddy at work, Scotty, I had told him that this would be an entertaining race for good and bad reasons, and I hope he sees the end and he laughs when he sees me at work tomorrow, if he watched it tonight or not. But got to thank Dewey for being the represent masshole here in the booth. While me and Brain Fade are the represents on the track. I don't know if y'all knew that, but Brain's from Mass too. So
Nice.
There's two of us on track. And I got to thank Tyler. He raced me clean pretty much all night. And we were giving each other feedback on how different our setups were and stuff. So his was actually a lot tighter than me, but he made it work in other areas. So it's kind of cool. You can set this track up kind of like really differently and be fast like either way. So good win to the lucky one in the 93 tonight. And good finish, Steven, getting the lucky third place there.
Well, Zach, again, dominant run for you here tonight. Again, as always, it's a pleasure getting the opportunity to talk with you. Can't thank you enough for your time, for answering our questions after what was a disappointing finish to the race. But again, man, great run nonetheless. And as always, pleasure talking with you. We'll be talking with you again soon.
Yeah, I did the best I could tonight. I was still going to be happy finishing second, even if I didn't get back to Tyler. I wanted to finish second at the very least. But Talladega's next week. I do not care for Talladega at all because when you finish top 3 most weeks at other tracks, you tend to not get pushed to the win. So we'll go out there next week and we'll give whoever we can some draft help and give them the good bumps and just have a good time next week because after that is Infineon, and we're going to put that sim work in, Joe. And we'll probably blow a gear when it matters. So we're going to do what we can, though, to be the best we can. So we're just going to, you get it.
Yeah, and as well, end of the day, that's all you can do, Zach. Again, man, congratulations on a good run here tonight. And again, can't thank you enough for your time.
Yeah, this feels like a bigger Super Bowl choke than last week.
Zach Rogers, driver of the number 5. Your second place finisher here tonight. Let's go ahead and we'll finally go and bring in our third place finisher. He's the driver of the number 11, Steve Grant. Steve, you got a copy.
Hey, Joe. So what'd you think of that race? That was
what did you think of what you saw out of your windshield at the end, man? I mean, come on.
I had a front row seat.
No
I was sitting there
kidding.
going, I can't believe what they're doing.
How much fun was tonight? Because, we had heard rumblings at last night's truck race, cautions, and heard a lot about turn 4 and turns 3 and 4 kind of being that really slick spot. And it didn't seem like it plagued tonight's race too much. It really felt like it came down to guys being aggressive, feeling they could be aggressive, and those aggressive moves maybe turning into some of the trouble we saw tonight.
I really think it came down to tires. I really wish I had gone in and gotten tires when they did. Because it was too hard, that transition, getting the heat built back up in the tires. It was so loose. I mean, I know Tyler was probably doing the same thing. We were loose off. So, yeah, they drove around me. The 5 and the 93 just drove right around me on the outside with fresh tires. I was like, there's nothing I can do.
Is that frustrating from a sense of they're just driving by you? Is it frustrating from a sense of, like you're saying, oh man, I wish I would have pit, because it also seemed like track position was going to be crucial there, because we had that kind of slew of cautions after you guys elected to stay out that final time.
Well, we kind of had the yo-yo race. We'd work our way up, and then something would happen, and we'd get knocked back, and so we were off cycle a little bit on the tires. I wasn't up there to make, a better decision. I thought we had a jump on the 18 on one of the restarts, but I didn't want to push the issue. So I think we had a top 5 car, but I don't think we had anything for the top 4 cars.
Well, Steve, it's still a third place run after what was a very, like you said, a yo-yo race, up and down race. Man, you and Team Speedland, you guys have been putting in a lot of work. We see it each and every week. Want to congratulate you on that. But before we let you go tonight, want to give you the opportunity. You got great partners as always on the car. You got great fans in chat as always with Greg. Want to give you the opportunity. You got partners and people to thank. Floor is yours. You know what to do.
Yep, I'd like to thank my teammates. Wiley King had some problems. He got caught up in some stuff there, and hopefully Greg Stanzowski will make his debut next week in another league. But I don't really know who else to thank except for Brian and Magoo and you guys putting on a great show. I always love sitting down and watching them afterwards.
Well, Steve, we love watching them live. We love getting to talk with you after the race, man. As always, it's a pleasure getting that opportunity. And also thank you, because you've been a part of bringing us to some other races with our friends over at Hobo on Tuesday nights in the last year. So thank you and your team for that. Again, man, always a pleasure to talk with you. Can't thank you enough for your time. Hope we're talking with you again soon, and good luck next week at Talladega.
Thanks a lot. You guys have a good night.
Steve Grant, driver of the number 11. Your third place finisher here from Martinsville. Dewey, man, oh man, that was a pretty fun little race there, huh?
Boy, was it ever.
Anything else, or is it just boy, was it ever?
Boy, was it no. I mean, again, just a great race. I mean, yeah, maybe got a little messy-ish in the middle, but some great battling.
Finish, though.
one of the best finishes I've ever seen, whether it's a race I've been in, whether I've been calling it or just watching it. Hard to top what we saw here tonight, and Ricky J just flat out stole one.
He's probably gonna go buy a couple of lottery tickets tonight or on his next shift. But man,
not a bad idea.
A great run here tonight, Dewey. Can't thank you enough for being that emergency substitute here tonight. And folks at home, can't thank you enough for tuning in here. It's been a jam-packed week of racing. Again, we're live again tomorrow night with NNSCRA Daytona 500K. Coverage of that one kicking off at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, here on Thursday nights, want to take the opportunity to thank our friends at Voiles Trucking, Brian and Kathy Voiles, our friends here at BSR, because they do so much to help support us, bring these races to you guys at home. We can't thank you folks enough at home as well for tuning in, for chatting with us throughout these races. Another fun night of short track racing is in the books. Next week we head to Talladega, so we go two complete opposite ends of the spectrum. That's what you love seeing, and you're going to see it live right here on JTN. Make sure if you haven't already, drop a like on the video and subscribe. Again, doing so is the best way to help support us on JTN. You can also follow us on our social media, TikTok, Instagram, X, and Facebook at JoeTowNetwork. All of those things linked in the video description below. And if you want to get in on the action here at BSR, you head to bombsquadracing.net, or also follow their link in the video description below. With all that being said, though, folks, for all of us here at JTN, for Bristol, our producer, for my colleague Dewey Schramm, I've been Joe Twansky. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time live right here on JTN. So long for now, folks.
Three wide for second, but Sean Whitehill is going to bring it home and win the race at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Ricky J closing up off turn 4. He's going to have a run to the inside. He blocks into the grass. Checkers out. Hardy wins it.
Ricky, what's going on in your brain right now?
Yeah, putting on 4 big rubber shoes and 2 gallons of, 2 cans of exploding dino juice here, Joe.
Down to the tunnel turn. These guys are throwing it through there and around to the back. Oh,
no.
The wall, as well as RJ Bishop. Down in front of Keith Hughes. Oh, no! Big hit. RJ Bishop.
Oh my!
Oh,
Ricky
big
J,
wreck.
big crash into the wall.
Oh,
The leaders
no.
have wrecked. Ricky J is upside down. Magoo is hard in the wall. Tyler Mallon escapes with no damage. Everybody else in this main group, including Nelly, is junked.
Through the north chute they'll go. The 24's into the wall. Almost contact there. The 10 with the shallow entry into turn 4. It's going to be a drag race down the front straightaway. Folks, the 24's in the wall. They make contact. Turn around. Napping goes on through the flip. Rich Napping's going to win the Culver Block 200 in thrilling fashion.